Good afternoon, Lake Norman. Hope everybody's doing well today. This is Justin Dionne here with Know the Scene, your show here that highlights what's going on around here in the Lake Norman region, culturally and just in general. So what's going on? What is the scene of our Lake Norman community and the towns that make it up here? What are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you watching? What shows are you enjoying? All that kind of stuff. So another great show for you today. But before that, just to catch up on things, let's see. It'll be May 14th when this airs. We are pre-recording today. But Cain Center for the Arts continuing to lean into the last couple weeks here of our spring presenting season from performing arts. Let's see, we will have had Dust Bowl Revival will have performed on May the 10th. There, a nice Americana band. Coming up on May 19th, coming up this coming Sunday, so when this airs on May 14th, it'll be this Sunday, we'll have the Charlotte Symphony Orchestra. And we had a great show recently, again with Christopher James Lees, the not the executive director, the conductor of the Charlotte Symphony. Always great to talk to him. Great show that's going to be for, and this is actually, so Charlotte Symphony, when they came in the fall, they played more kind of pops, if you think about it that way, like movie music. And this upcoming performance on May 19th is going to be more classical oriented. So if you're a classical fan with the symphony and that kind of music, you should definitely make sure to come out for that. And then we have our final show of the spring season, which is who we're going to talk with today. We're going to have Philip Hamrick here doing an album release party on May 31st. We're going to talk to Phil here in just a moment. But this spring is really hot and heavy. I mean, we say spring, although we're really, of course, already moving kind of into summer in that way here. May, of course, is an intro into summer in North Carolina, and it's been great to see all the outdoor events coming back and everything from a very successful Taba Walk that happened back in April. We had downtown Huntersville had a festival a few weeks ago. You know, all the breweries are popping again. Lots of outdoor music opportunities at places like Birkdale, up in Mooresville as well. They've got their outdoor stage there in downtown Mooresville. I know it's got a lot of great shows coming up there. So really encourage you all to continue to get out and be part of your community and support all the great cultural opportunities that exist here in our awesome places that we live. All right. Well, we're gonna move into today's show. We are joined today by Mr. Philip Hamrick. Philip, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. Yes. So the Tunnel Club.
Yeah.
The Tunnel Club is the name of your new album that's coming out.
Yeah. It's a story that my wife's grandfather told me.
Oh.
And that's the concept. It's the title track of the album, but it just kind of took shape, and I was like, this whole album is going to be called The Tunnel Club. But it's a story about him hitchhiking through the South in the 1940s. And somebody told him after his first semester or first year of college at Wake Forest, if you want to make some money, you need to get out to Oklahoma and work on a wheat combine and make some money. And so he hitchhikes out.
Interesting.
I know.
Like,
this is a different world.
Like, go work on a wheat combine. That's where you're going to make your money.
That's the way you make some money. Yeah. So he goes from Shelby, North Carolina to Tulsa, Oklahoma. He hitchhikes and he gets there on 2 rides.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
Wow. And how long, I guess how long, because, it took him, back then, did they have, this is going to be my history. Were the interstates
I don't think so.
Thing then? I don't think they would have been. And you said the 20s?
In the 40s.
In the 40s, yeah. Like interstates were after that, I think, right?
I know.
So he's taking like local highways.
He gets out to like Tennessee, and the first person drops him off, and he pretty much walks through the whole town. And for some reason, the people that had dropped him off stayed there for like a day, drove back through, saw him on the highway,
and picked him up again. And
took him to Oklahoma.
Wait. So he does the trip from Winston-Salem, Shelby. From Shelby to Oklahoma, 2 rides. Same people.
He gets out there, and all the companies had hired their workers for the summer. So he has no work.
Oh.
So he turns around and hitchhikes back, but he can't get back to North Carolina. And this is where the story gets just wild. It's just crazy. He gets in a knife fight. This drunk guy picks him up. Like, he ends up, this trucker that was hauling like beans picks him up, gets him. He somehow ends up in West Virginia, and he's like, well, that's east, and nobody's picking him up. Finally, the salesman is going through the town. I think he's in like Logan, West Virginia. He sees him in an apple orchard, like napping. This is so Americana, right? And he says, "You look terrible. Let me, I've got a room." Again, this has never happened today. I've got a room, 2 beds in it. I got a clean shirt. I'll take you to eat at this country club tonight. So they go to eat at this country club. And
in West Virginia.
In West Virginia.
Okay. This
country club is right by a rail line. And these guys start telling him stories about this tunnel club. So the rail line continues on a little ways. West Virginia, you go through this mountain, there's a tunnel, and on the other side is Kentucky. And so the tunnel club was to run from one side to the Kentucky side through the tunnel and then run back. And that was, you became a member of the tunnel club.
Like physically run.
Yeah, I think drinks were involved in this. And so
a little bit of corn liquor.
Yeah, so they run through the tunnel and they get to Kentucky and they're running back and they hear the train coming and it's coming
on
fast.
The train.
They're on the train tracks.
Oh no!
And so they turn around, and I didn't put this in the song because it's just the song would be 20 minutes long. It takes me longer to tell the story than sing the song. But he sees this old man. He's not going to make it back through. They had to pick him up and like run out of this tunnel, and they jump out in the West Virginia side of the tunnel. The train just comes right behind them, and they almost died.
Wow!
And then it continues on a story where he told me how he finally got it back to North Carolina. But it's just an incredible, window into another time.
How long ago did he tell you this story?
He told me the story about 5 or 6 years ago.
Is he still alive? He's
95.
Oh wow! So he's still alive.
He's still alive.
Good for him. 95.
He's lived a pretty good life. He's actually in the hospital right now. He's not doing as well, but I mean, man, mentally alert, and just told me this great, vivid story. And so I knew it had to be a song. So I was like, well, I'm going to write that. And it took me a long time to write the song. And finally, when I finally had a demo of it, I brought it to him and I let him hear it. And he could finish the lyrics before I was actually singing. I mean, it was like his story.
It's so cool.
It's a very cool story, man. But
wow.
Yeah, just a window into another time. Like, people don't live like that. People don't hitchhike. I mean, I don't know really anybody who's ever hitchhiked who's my age.
Makes you think of the Muppets movie.
Yeah.
In Charge Marge, man. Large Marge. You gotta look out.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was Pee-wee. Was that Pee-wee?
That was Pee-wee. You're right. That was Pee-wee. Sorry. You're right. That was not the Muppets. That was Pee-wee.
Exactly.
I
just watched it with my kids not too long ago.
That was a terrifying
But he told me this story, and I was like, I had to make a song out of it, and so I wrote it. And literally, when I finished that thing, I stood up and yelled out, "I finally got it!" Because it was haunting me.
Wow, what a story! All right, what a kickoff! That's a great kickoff to today's show about Tunnel Club. We're going to keep talking with Philip and talking about Tunnel Club and Philip's journey and all the other music he's done as well. He has a great story. Tune in, stay with us. Coming back after the break, Know the Scene. And we're back here on Know the Scene. Justin Dionne, your host here today with local musician and singer-songwriter and performer Philip Hamrick, talking about his new album that is coming out, The Tunnel Club. And he's actually going to be performing at Cain Center for the Arts for his album release celebration here on Friday, May 31st. You can get tickets at cainarts.org. Philip just told us the story of the title track, right? This is the title track.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. They're called. So this song is called The Tunnel Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So in the first segment, Philip told us the story of what inspired the name of this record and the title track, the story of his would we call him your grandfather-in-law?
I mean, he's my grandfather-in-law.
Would that be? Yeah. Is that grandfather-in-law?
I mean,
and like his story.
Yeah.
So all right. And now you're gonna play this track for us.
Yeah. I'll play it for you. You ready?
Yes.
There was 50 years between us, but that vanished in a flash as he sat beside the fireplace telling stories from his past. and I could see into his eyes with all the embers glowing red. So I poured another glass and lived on every word he said. And he said, when I was young, I went across the south, sticking out my thumb, and life along the road can be tough, but running from that train is how I ended up in the Tunnel Club. He thumbed his way to Oklahoma, where he looked to harvest wheat. But the crews had hired their workers, and he was back out on the street. With no prospects for a job, he finally had to turn around. Stuck his thumb out pointing east, and laid his suitcase on the ground. He fought some drunks along the highway who had given him a ride. They tried to shake him down for money until he pulled his Bowie knife and hitched a ride to West Virginia with a trucker hauling beans. Got out in an apple orchard and took a nap among the trees. And this was when he was young, very far from home, sticking out his thumb, and life along the road can be tough, but running from that train is how we ended up in the Tunnel Club. Ooh, and a salesman picked him up along the way and gave him a clean shirt and a room where he could stay. And over drinks and dinners, stories were told of a club you could join if you were so bold. There was a tunnel through the mountain where the railroad passes through. It emerges in Kentucky and is what you had to do. You ran from one side to the other in the darkness of the night. Turn around and make it back through to the West Virginia side. Well, that tunnel was just down the road and he went with the crowd. They were halfway through that mountain when they heard the whistle sound. And with that engine breathing down his neck, they made it out alive, jumping out into the freedom of a West Virginia night. There is a time to run into the light, a time to run away. There is a time to stick your thumb out, and a time when you should stay. And back home in Carolina, by the embers glowing red, sat my empty glass aside and lived on every word he said. And he said, when I was young, I went across the south, sticking out my thumb, and life along the road can be tough, but running from that train is how I ended up in the Tunnel Club.
Nice. That was great.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, oh, yes. Way to go. Nice, Bill. I like that effect.
I like that too, Bill. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thanks, brother.
That was great. So did he make his he made his way back to North Carolina?
He did.
I mean, he got back there.
He said he got back and he got back in like the middle of the night, and just he didn't want to scare his parents, so he went and sat in the laid down in the back seat of his mom's old Buick or something, his feet hanging out of the window, and his mom came out the next morning for work, and she said, I can't remember her husband's name was, but anyway, come on out here, there's a drunk in the car. He'd had this great American journey.
Dude, I love right?
Yeah.
This is Oh Brothers Were Out Thou
Seriously?
vibe, except he wasn't a criminal.
I know.
That's wild.
And
Could you imagine how old was he when he did that?
He was probably, I think he was 18 or 19 years old.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
It's kind of like a dream.
Yeah.
Like when I was that age, like I wanted to say I would do something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I felt like I always like wanted to say I would hitchhike somewhere.
Yeah.
When I was that age, just to try it. Just to do that adventure. Like the adventure of it.
Sometimes I feel like I could go and, I could do something like that. Or, hey, I'm just going to go backpack for 2 or 3 days. And then you're like, nah, who's got the time?
Who's got the time to do that now?
I don't know. I've got obligations.
That's right.
There's guys that backpacked out through Europe, when we were coming out of college, you always were really jealous of those guys that actually did it. Or somebody that done the Appalachian Trail or something.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's a cool idea. I need to go pick up my kids from school today.
I gotta get in line.
I'm just gonna
get in the pickup line.
I'm gonna write somebody else's story now.
That's right.
And that's what I kind of do when my songwriting. I mean, sometimes they're personal experiences, but sometimes, man, somebody just tells you a story and it stays with you.
Yeah.
And it's just like the great oral tradition of passing things down. But sometimes it's the song, the melody that stays with you. Yeah.
But so let's back that up then a minute. Like take us to tell folks here about Philip Hamrick and your songwriting style and how you got into songwriting and playing and everything.
Yeah, I grew up a classical musician. I actually went to Appalachian State on a trumpet performance scholarship.
Oh, cool.
I really thought I was going to play classical music, but along the way, in the early 2000s and late 90s and early 2000s at Appalachian State, there was a ton of Doc Watson was still alive, and there was a lot of mountain music, and there was also just I gravitated towards songwriters, and I was like, I want to figure out how to do that, and I was picking up a guitar along the way, but I wasn't good enough to play anyone else's songs, so I had to figure out how to write them myself. And so I just started, I really cut my teeth playing in places like in Boone and Blowing Rock, and some of these places are long gone, but like Caribbean Cafe.
Yeah, I remember Caribbean Cafe. Yeah,
all those places like that.
About Portofino's.
Cafe Portofino's.
I think Cafe Portofino's still around. I think.
Man, like some of those like Tijuana Fats.
Yes.
Things like that, and then occasionally I'd be playing, and somebody would whisper, "Hey, such and such person is here, and you should let them sit in with you." These great bluegrass guys would just come in and sit in occasionally.
That's so cool.
And I mean, not that I was great enough to hang with them, but they were definitely, an influence on some of the stuff I do. And I mean, I've always been a fan of songwriting, and from the Beatles on, and my parents are older, so I was subjected to a lot of 50s and 60s music growing up too. And so I just I loved all that, the Elvis stuff and Buddy Holly and the Everly Brothers and all that stuff kind of like trickles down. But then you have I grew up and I was in high school in the 90s, and you have all that
right
Oasis and Nirvana and all these guys that just kind of trickled in. So I started writing songs in college, and then won a songwriting competition and did that. Did an internship in New York City learning about the music business, and I realized I really just enjoyed the playing part more.
Yeah.
And so I played in a lot of southeastern college towns, and then life happens, and I got called into ministry too along the way. So I'm a worship leader. I've been doing that for 15 or 16 years, and get married and you have kids. And so sometimes I just realize if I'm going to do this, if I have a song in my heart and I know I've got to get it out, I've just got to make time to do it.
Right.
I got to set goals. I got to set time to do it. And I'm going to record. I'm going to do this project, and I'm going to release it the best way I can in my community. And so, along the way, I picked up a few people that kind of like what I do.
How many, how many records have you put out now? Yeah,
I've done three solo records. One was on a label, and the other two are independent. The first one was independent, and this one's independent. So
nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I thought you had told me that you were signed to a label at one point.
Yeah. I was on a Christian record label. So the record called Getting Stronger came out in 2016, and it was it was more worship. And I felt like I needed to do that, but also this album is very singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
And so there's songs on it about my wife. There's songs about my wife's grandfather telling me stories. There's stories about that people have told me that I felt like I just needed to tell through song. And so I'm all over the place, genre-wise, man. It's like I kind of like that. I don't want to be pigeonholed into one thing.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's what I felt as a Christian artist. I felt like that's all you can do. And I don't really feel like that's who I am. I don't think that's who God created me to be. I'm a creative person. And so I see music coming out of me in various formats. And I think that's a good thing.
It is. And he shared some with us today, and you're going to share a little bit more with us coming up later. So we're going to take another break. And when we come back, more with Philip Hamrick. Know the Scene. Know the Scene. Welcome back. Segment 3 today. Talking here with Philip Hamrick, who has a show coming up, album release show coming up at Cain Center for the Arts, May 31st. Get your tickets, cainarts.org. The Tunnel Club, which he played for us, the title track, which is great. And then, we spent some of the last segment, Phil, kind of talking about you and your journey, but I'd love to dig a little bit more into that.
Sure.
So you're from North Carolina originally, is that right?
I'm from Asheboro, North Carolina.
From Asheboro.
The heart of the state.
Heart of the state.
The heart of North Carolina. Really, everybody just knows
the home of the zoo.
It's where the zoo is.
That's right.
Yeah.
The home of the zoo.
I'm originally from there, but I live in Mooresville.
The cultural mecca of Asheboro.
It truly is. It truly is. We have chimpanzees and gorillas, and I think there's a mural in downtown. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And at this point, Asheboro is like, because how far outside of like Raleigh is that? Is Asheboro considered a sub now of Raleigh?
No, I would say most people would go to Greensboro. To have like back then, when I lived there, we wanted to go to Greensboro to see a movie or have a good meal,
I went to Greensboro. Okay.
Yeah. Even though they had a movie theater in Asheboro, it just wasn't as cool to go there.
Sure. Sure.
But anyway, it's a great town. It's not too far from Seagrove, and you have the pottery, and you have a lot of great artisans. I enjoy going back. My mom and dad are still there, my sister, and
cool.
Our family. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But that's where you learned the trumpet.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Just did you pick it up in high, kind of like the
middle school,
right? The middle school band, right? Yeah, me too. I played trumpet. That's where I learned trumpet. Middle school band.
Sixth grade, you had to pick an instrument.
That's right.
And so I did trumpet, and I loved it. I think if I had to do it all over again, when I got to college, I had the ability to pick. Could you take some jazz classes? And I was like, no, man, I'm a note reader, man. And now, like 95% of what I do would apply to like some of the concepts we talk about in jazz, and improvisation and playing off of each other, music theory, things like that. And
that's where I stopped too.
Yeah.
Once I had to like really learn, and I knew my scales.
Yeah.
I did trumpet up into high school too, and I was actually originally going to go to UNCG.
I lived at UNCG as well.
I was going to do their music teaching program and do trumpet. But I remember like that was a big point for me when I hit that kind of like wall of the next step.
Yeah.
Like if you're going the next step, you need to be able to like start using, like I needed to tie together the idea that I know these scales, play this scale, cool, I can play that. Like I play that scale, but then being able to translate that into knowing, how to use the notes in that scale within a key. And that's when I was like, I'm out.
And somewhere in my brain, that is still there, but it's so far away from everything else that I do now. So it takes me a little while to get back there. But yeah, I value that education. It was really awesome, and it was formative for sure.
So when you were at App and you said you were at App and you originally went to study music.
Yeah, I finished.
You did finish music.
I got
performance?
two degrees, one in music education and one in music industries.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was a great program.
Did you put your trumpet down like completely?
Not while I was there.
And trade for your guitar?
I finished it out. I was playing classical music during the day and moonlighting in whatever venue I could play at night.
That's so cool.
And so I'd get back at like 1 or 2.
Right.
Wake up the next morning and remember to open my guitar case, and my guitar would just literally cough. It's still smoking.
Right. Yep. Back in. Yeah. Where the smoky bars was a thing.
Yeah. And then I'd go to class, and music major, all of them are like 8 in the morning. So that was tough. But yeah, it was very great years, sweet years, wonderful friends. I learned how to do it. I learned a lot about what it meant to play a show and preparation, and Yeah. So, but those two parts of my brain are quite separate. Even once in a while, I'll cross over. But yeah, that was a good time, and I'm thankful for that. I would highly recommend, that program, both of those programs.
Appalachian State's program. Yeah,
sure.
they have a great program there, and
yeah.
And so how did you get to the point where, you had mentioned that I guess you won a songwriting contest.
Yeah, I just
You just like submitted?
Yeah, I submitted and so I got to do a little EP there, and that was it was really like I had a lot of friends at App, and so I just thought, well, this is going to be super easy because I did a little release show, and it was the very first show at Black Cat Burrito in Boone.
Black Cat, man.
The very first one.
Oh, you were the first? Dude.
Packed it. And I was like, well, this is going to be super easy, obviously. I'm going to be a superstar in no time.
I've packed out Black Cat and Boone, baby.
And
have you been to the new Appalachian Theater, the High Country yet?
No.
In downtown?
Mm-hmm.
They've renovated that theater.
That old theater, yeah.
I haven't been yet either. I know Susan Livesay, who's the executive director there. I think she's been on one of the radio shows here before.
Oh, that's cool.
And they bring in all kinds of acts. But you should try to do a show up there.
A homecoming of sorts.
Yeah, a homecoming show.
Oh man, yeah. I did play up there a few years back, and I was like, this is great. I'm finally, prodigal son returning to App, and I played for a student group, and then I did a show locally. And the next morning, I felt all good about myself. I went and parked at Boone Bakery. It was like my favorite place to eat. And I walked out, and I had a parking ticket.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But now you're like, I've had the Boone experience.
Yeah. That's pretty much par for the course for my existence at Boone. But
so like when as you grew as a songwriter, like what would you say? Because I mean, similar to some maybe who've written songs before, right? The first time you're just writing like songs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at the first couple you write, and then at some point, I'm guessing like you started to actually think about like process and
right,
that's a great question. And structures and things like that. Like what was that moment for you, and what are some of the things that you took from that you think are?
I mean, sometimes when you're young and you're first starting out, you write down everything, and everything comes really quickly, and it's so vivid. But you also have time to do these things,
right?
And so songwriting was a very quick process when I was early on. I was also very bad at it, because there's no filter, right? And now I really value the fact that if I'm putting something on paper, I'm almost like committing at that point to finish something, and so. Sometimes for me it's lyrics. Sometimes for me it's a melody line or some kind of musical theme that comes around. Or also sometimes I just name a song, like the Tunnel Club. I'm going to write a song called the Tunnel Club. I'm going to do it, And sometimes you'll write a song and you're like, oh, well, that's the name of it. I figured it out after I finished the song.
Right.
And so the process to me is very much like a puzzle. So whatever elements I can get, and then I have to perhaps stop because I have something else to do. As long as I get like a verse and chorus, I can come back and finish that later.
Right.
And sometimes that later might be years down the road.
It could be, yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe it's later that day, but you just have to commit to the process and say, this is going to happen if I don't do it. I mean, there's nobody that's beating down my door saying, you got to finish that,
Right.
Sometimes it's just me playing something in the house and my wife walks through the room and like, that's a good one, you should finish it. And that's all I need, man.
Yeah, I know, dude. The minute the wife gives a little bit of encouragement, same thing with me sometimes with things. The minute I get a little bit of encouragement in that way, I'm like, well, there we go.
Yeah. She says, that's pretty good one. You should do that. I'm like, oh, that's all I need. I'm a words of affirmation person.
I'm doing this one.
It's obviously amazing. So she loves it. And then, or maybe it's my kids now. I have 2 daughters, 11 and 8, and maybe it's just them humming a melody that I've been working on during the day. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm onto something. So I'm going to finish it. So that's
you never got into the like, which I've never been known this, but you hear about the musicians in like Nashville, right? That they go to these. I mean, it is a massive skill that they develop.
Oh, they're
it's like
gonna write a song.
Yeah, like they go to these like songwriter groups and they're gonna write songs and they just do them, whether they're bad, whether they're good, whatever. And it's almost like
I've done some of that on a lesser level, but like, yeah, I mean, the urgency is. We're getting together, we're committing time to this. We need to have something, like, we need to produce something that's good.
Yeah.
And I do that too now, is like I'll schedule time with myself. I'm going away to this cabin. I'm going somewhere else where I have no distractions. and I have to return with something. If not,
Yeah.
I feel like it's just a big waste of time.
How interesting.
Because my time is valuable, family and everything else.
Right.
So when I come back, I better have something good.
That's right. All right. Well, we got more something good coming up. I'm going to take another break, and then we're going to have a final segment with Philip. I think he might play us one more song here off the new album, Tunnel Club, coming out soon. And we'll be right back after the break. And we're back. Know the Scene. Justin Dionne, your host here with our guest, Philip Hamrick. Been having a great conversation about Philip and his journey and his career and songwriting and worship leading and his journey just in general. Talking about and getting ready for his new record coming out, the Tunnel Club. Release party on May the 31st. Is that going to be the actual official also release of the record?
No, it'll be out actually the week before, May 24th.
Awesome. Okay, I was going to say, make sure people know. And is it available on where can they get it?
All formats. You can stream it wherever. I'm actually going to press vinyl.
Oh, I'm getting one.
Yeah.
I love vinyl.
They'll be available at the show, or you can pre-order one on my website, philiphamrick.com.
There you go. Nice. philiphamrick.com. I was going to ask about that.
One L in Philip.
Yeah,
that's the way the Lord wants it to be spelled.
that came down from on high. One L.
Yeah.
In Philip.
Yeah.
So make sure philiphamrick.com.
Yeah.
People can learn more about the upcoming release as well as other things as well, and other potential shows they can see you.
Yeah.
Moore's a resident, but from Ashboro.
Yeah.
Originally, Ashboro. So talk to us about, you told us about the title track and Tunnel Club. Does the record, so tell us more about the record as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Like the way you've composed it, are there other songs that are inspired by the same Tunnel Club story, or is it a little bit of everything mixed in between? What is it?
Yeah, the album has a little bit of ADHD. It's a little all over the place because the songs on it were written over such a long span of time. Some of them were written in the last year or two. And then one of them particularly, I wrote for my grandparents, probably 20 years ago.
Wow.
And
is it a re-record or is it the first time you recorded it?
With a band it's called This Is Love. I recorded it with a band a long time ago. But it wasn't a quality recording.
Sure.
And sometimes you just want to have a second chance at something and do it right.
But how cool to come back that many years later. I'm sure just a different approach, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And some of the songs, one I'm going to play here in a little bit is very much more rock. And I would classify the album as a whole as more folk and Americana in nature.
Nice.
But some of them have strings. It's real lush. And you'll just hear my influences all over the thing. But my friend Sonny that I recorded it with up in his studio in New York, he got the vision.
Nice.
And helped me kind of piece all this together.
What would you say? So when you do the release party, is it going to be full band? Is it going to be just you solo? A mixture of everything? What's it going to be like?
Full band, and I'm calling in all my favors.
Nice.
My friend Raven Fiver is going to come back in from Nashville and play drums, and Christopher Law is going to play upright bass, and one of my friends Luke is going to play electric, and I'm playing different guitars and keys, and one of my great mentors in life and just music in general, Kent Winton's playing some keys, and then my wife is singing with me. So,
awesome.
It's an all-star band. As far as in my world, these guys are all-stars to me. I'm so
that'll
honored.
be great.
Yeah.
That'll be super great. So are you going to, so what people hear on the record will probably be what they hear in the concert?
Yeah, we'll be missing the symphony orchestra.
Oh,
but
that's
you apparently booked them the week before.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. I should have coordinated that better.
But it's going to be fair representation of what you'd hear on the record. And
awesome.
This record is very analog in nature. That's just who I am. I tell people I'm cast iron in a nonstick world. Like, I love, if I could record a tape, I would. And so it's been mixed on analog. It's been mastered on analog. That's why it made very much sense to release it in vinyl format. I think it's a very warm record.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more about some of the other tracks. I know you said that, some of them are a year or two old. Some of them are as old as 20 years. Like, What is there a journey? I mean, you kind of said like an ADD record, but
I
like
just went through my songs that I felt like needed to be recorded and get and out there, and I just thought these make this. It's a shorter record, although the songs are a little longer. In playing time, it's like 33, 35 minutes.
Okay,
like that.
okay.
But it's only 8 songs long.
Yeah.
And but they just felt like a batch of songs that represent me as an artist really well.
When you release, you going to release it all at once, or you're going to do that thing where you like
I mean, we've
drop a track? Yeah, you've been dropping tracks,
I've been
right?
dropping tracks, last 3 months. And so there's 3 of them out there right now. All I Know is one of them. And the next one was Young Forever, and that's the one I'm going to play for you here. And then the last one was Promised Land, which is... of the songs, it's the one that kind of represents me more from a faith perspective, and it really is written more for my friends who have left the faith than anything else, and because I think those people need music too, but it's more hymn in nature. It's very, very hymn-like.
Interesting.
But this, like I said, the songs on this record are all over the place. However, it still works, and the guy that mixed it, Dan Knobler. He's worked a lot with Lake Street Dive and several artists that I just love. He was able to find that common thread as he was mixing it to where it all makes cohesive like sense.
That's awesome.
Sonically.
Wow.
And I when I called him after he sent me the first pass of the mix, it's like, dude, you figured it out. I was really worried about this. I didn't know if this would make sense at all. Because you've probably bought albums in the past where like you bought it for the one single.
Right. And then you're like, oh.
I did that with a U2 record like a long time ago. Vertigo.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, that song's awesome. This record's going to rock. And none of the other songs sounded
anything like
at all like that. And, but Dan figured it out. And he said, can I have a little creative license with it? I said, sure, man, go for it.
That's awesome.
And he did a great job.
Well, play us one now. You're going to play us another one.
Yeah. This is called Young Forever. And, I wrote this one for my wife, and I was wanted to figure it out. What imagine in my head what it might be like to know your wife in high school and to date her and make promises you could never deliver on. And anyway, this is for her. Oh, I wanna feel the heat of a warm summer night, standing on an empty street, silhouettes in moonlight, and you are everything I need. And I will make the world stand still, so the moment will last. Anything to keep an endless thrill in my heart beating fast. Oh, my sweet Carolina, oh my sweet Carolina, yeah, you make me feel like I'm young forever. You make me feel like it's now or never. One day we'll be older than we thought we could be now. Is it gonna turn out right if we take it too far? 'Cause if I'm gonna burn out bright, let's stay right where we are. Oh, my sweet Carolina, oh, my sweet Carolina, yeah, you make me feel like I'm young forever. You make me feel like it's now or never. One day we'll be You make me feel like it's now or never. One day we'll be older than we thought. You make me feel like I'm young forever. You make me feel like it's now or never. One day we'll be older than we thought we could be. One day we'll be older than we thought we could be. One day we'll be older than we thought we could be now. Whoa.
Nice.
Thanks, brother.
Very nice. I like the energy of that one.
Thanks, man.
That was great. Well, it's everyone. We've had Philip Hamrick here today, playing a couple songs off of his new album, Tunnel Club, coming out in a couple, like 2 weeks fully.
Yeah, man.
In about 2 weeks fully, and then at the end of May 31st, make sure to come to his album release party at Cain Center for the Arts.
Would love to see you guys.
Tickets at cainarts.org. So you can get those tickets to see Philip and see his full band. He's called in all the favors.
Yeah.
Bring in everybody to celebrate this. If you want to go ahead and pre-order a copy of his record and vinyl, you can do so at philiphamrick.com. Make sure to do that. And I'm going to take one quick second and tell everyone thank you so much for all of you that have been listening to Know the Scene. Today is our last broadcast. We're going to be moving on to other ideas and options, but it's been a pleasure to be able to host great guests like Philip and others that we've had in this time. And thank you all for listening. Thank you to everyone here at the station for your support at WSIC. You guys keep listening. Thank you guys so much. Keep supporting our cultural institutions and cultural opportunities here in the Lake Norman region. Take care. Justin Dionne signing off for Know the Scene.